This session is going to be about anger and forgiveness. I think that where a lot of us are at are this place where we are navigating a lot of anger that's come from past traumas and have perhaps question marks in our mind about forgiveness and what that means and whether we want to achieve it or whether we can achieve it. So, first, I'm going to talk a little bit about forgiveness and what it means, and then I'm going to talk about anger. And I'll teach a practice during this session on how to move through your anger because anger is very different than other hard emotions. If you are having some issues with other emotions like fear, shame, guilt, sadness, mm, hurt, confusion, overwhelm, all of those other hard emotions, you can utilize the tutorial that I have available on feeling your feelings. And that's probably a good place to start. You can also use that for anger. It's just that when anger becomes so prevalent that it feels like rage, you do need a separate practice for that. So that's why I'm teaching this practice here today. So if you haven't checked out that video, go ahead and check out that tutorial on feeling your feelings. And otherwise, we'll get started here on this topic. So, so first of all, forgiveness. Forgiveness, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what it actually is. We think of forgiveness as this outward, I forgive you kind of experience. And really, what forgiveness is the experience of getting to a place where you no longer want to feel the anger for yourself. You get to a place where you want you to be at peace. So you may not know how to forgive somebody, but you get to a point where you know that you want better for you. So I see forgiveness as very much an inward, pointing towards yourself. I want better for me. And therefore, the only thing to do is to not continue to choose this anger. And if you're not choosing the anger, then you're choosing forgiveness because that's the path to peace, right? Um, so I don't think that we need to think of forgiveness as like something that we should get to. At some point in your journey, when you have felt enough anger, you will get to a place where you decide, I don't want to live this way anymore. And that's when you know you've got it. It's there. Because forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about you and your experience of your life, your experience of peace, your desire to feel peace. When your desire to feel peace outweighs the desire to stay angry, when your desire for yourself to live a peaceful life is more than your desire to hold on to the story, that's forgiveness. It's a very much a you-centered experience. So I want to clarify that misconception because it's really important. There probably won't ever come a day where whoever has hurt you in your life, you will just want to forgive them. Like you'll just have this epiphany and decide, you know what, I'd really like to forgive them. It's more likely how it's going to happen is you're going to want better for yourself. And that means that you are building a deep level of self-love, which is really beautiful. Now, that moment comes typically after we have been able to express a large amount of the anger that we have built up. And that's why having a practice to be able to express your anger is really important. What tends to happen is that when you have those outlets for anger and you allow yourself to use them for a period of time, getting your anger out, you know, the anger is going to come back and it's going to come back and it's going to come back. And every single time it does, you use these tools, you use this practice to feel it, to move the energy through it, because anger is active energy. It's, again, it's different than the other emotions, which is why you need a different practice, because anger feels very active. If you've ever felt that kind of like that constrained feeling where you feel like you're kind of going to burst because you feel so much anger or rage building up, that's the experience. It's an active energy, so we have to do something active to get it out of our bodies. The other emotions, you don't necessarily have to do that. That's why the feeling feelings practice is good for those emotions. So with anger, once we're getting it out on a regular basis, that's when we kind of find ourselves in this phase of time during our healing journey or our spiritual awakening where we're just angry a lot of the time. And it can last different periods of time. For me, it lasted about a year. And I was just angry for a better part of a year, but constantly going back to my practice of feeling my anger and feeling my other feelings too. So at some point, I got to this place where I was like, I don't want this anymore. But it really could only have come by me allowing myself to move through that anger. The built up anger inside of me, it needed to vent. I would never have gotten to that place where I would say I wanted better if I didn't actually allow myself to feel it, because it would have stayed suppressed. It would have stayed suppressed. And through this journey, you get to learn the tools to help you, which are critical tools for being a human. Learning how to be a human being. It's kind of what I like to teach. The hard parts about being a human being, which often has to do with emotions and emotional regulation. So in the journey of this, you gather tools so that in the future, whenever you feel anger, you have these tools to go back to. So anger being an active emotion, we need to do something active. And by the way, that doesn't mean going to the gym. You should be having some sort of movement practice to be moving energy through, getting positive endorphins going. It just should be a part of your lifestyle in some way. And I say movement because it doesn't have to be anything specific. People have different ideas of what that means, but it could be walking, it could be dancing, it could be, you know, doing weightlifting, it could be any number of things. It could be doing yoga, it could be doing Pilates, it could be swimming, right? But it doesn't really matter. And it could be, you know, a mixture of those things. But really, it's movement. Now, in my opinion, having some sort of movement in your life should be a fun thing. So picking some of those things that maybe some of the things I listed or other things that you feel like feel good for you. So that's why we're not tying our movement practice to releasing anger. Because that should be something that you're already doing a lot, and it should be something positive that you do for your body because you love your body, right? What I mean by something active is we have to find some practice or multiple practices that we do where we are able to move energy out of our bodies, the angry energy out in a safe and healthy way. And it has to be something that you always have access to. So, you know, again, this is why certain movement practices aren't really helpful, because you don't always have access to, like, going to the gym or something. Now, I'll share a few that I really like, and you could think of your own or use any of these to start. But I always have journals with me, so this is just a blank journal. And one of the things that I really like to do as an anger practice, and I'm going to share some of these options, and then I'm going to talk about the actual practice, okay? So having a journal with me, a pen, scribbling, kind of stabbing at it, getting your anger out like this, like, right? That's one option. Another thing you can do is you can rip up pieces of paper. So Again, since I always have journals with me, I always have access to these things. So paper, I am ripping paper. Okay, that's another option. You can lay on your bed and you can kick your arms and legs. You can jump up and down. I think that also, in addition to having this active like practice that you do with your body, I think it's also really helpful to have a vocal practice. So going in your car is always a safe place, but if you can, wherever you live or however works for you, screaming, just allowing yourself to vocalize and scream. If you think of little kids and when they're upset, when they're angry, and they just scream, they yell, because that's them self-regulating. That's them releasing the energy out of their bodies, and we don't do that as adults, but we should. So when you feel the need to, going in your car, maybe going and sitting in a parking lot somewhere, if that feels better, and just screaming. But having some of these practices that you do to allow the energy to move through you. Now, as far as the practice, before you do the practice, you have to set an intention. And I like to set a very clear intention of my intention is to get this energy out of my body. I'm not trying to solve the problem. I'm not trying to figure out what to do. I'm not trying to figure out what to say to this person that I'm angry at. Because again, I'm not looking outside of myself. I'm not trying to point towards that person. I'm pointing towards myself. What's my intention for myself? My intention for myself is that I don't want to live with this angry energy inside of me. So my intention for me is I'm going to get it out because I love myself way too much to sit in that angry energy for long periods of time. So my intention for myself is to get it out. Doesn't actually matter what the circumstance is, who's involved, whatever. No, none of that matters because the practice is the same no matter what the circumstance is, because the emotion is the same, anger. So I set the intention that the goal is to get the energy out of my body, right? So I'm going to use the ripping example. Breaths. And now as I start the practice, and here's the piece of paper, this is the one that I'm choosing for right now, and I rip the paper, I'm literally transferring the angry energy into the paper as I rip it. So just, I'm like gripping it and like I'm putting all the angry energy into the paper. Sometimes it makes me feel better to just do that. Do a little angry paper confetti. And as you are doing this, okay, get another piece. You finish that piece, get another piece. You are going to say all the things that you want to say that have been in your head, that have been a part of the story going around in your mind, that you're not going to say to that person, but that you need to say out loud to get the energy out. So that means all the fuck yous and all the I hate yous. I hate you. I fucking hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Pretending that you're talking to that person. Telling them how much you can't stand them, how much you hate them, and all the FUs that you need to say. Right? So we're going to do that as much as you need to do that in order to get it all out. Putting it all in there. And then like throw it at the ground. Okay? Same thing with scribbling. Okay. Hold on. Okay, drop my pen. So, same thing here. We're like pressing really hard. We're saying like, I fucking hate you. Right? Stabbing. And this is actually a good one to bring in the second piece of this practice, which is your breath. Because your breath is a really important piece in this. When we're doing the practice, we always want to come back to our breath. So as I'm doing this, in between saying things, so I could say like, I hate you. And then I say, even like you'll find yourself holding your breath at times. Then we go back. Okay, we take a pause in between the practice. So let's say we're ripping up paper, we're scribbling, we're doing something. We stop and we pause and we take a breath. We breathe in and we breathe out slowly. So we check back in with ourselves. We kind of slow our heart rate down a little bit. We check back in. Okay, how do we feel? How are we doing on our intention? Have we gotten some of the energy out of ourselves? Yes, we've moved some of that energy. I can feel the tension release. And sometimes you'll feel that there's still a little bit more to go. So we go back, we keep doing it. Sometimes if I'm doing my scribbling and then I'm like scribbling through the page, I don't know if you can see that, but it's literally the page is breaking because of my scribbles. Then I'll just take this and I'll just be ripping these. Again, you can lay on your bed, kick your feet, say all the things you want to say, and then come back to your breath. Same thing when you're screaming. If you're in your car and you're like screaming out loud, allow yourself to do different frequencies, high frequencies, low frequencies, doing like different things with your voice, that kind of thing, or just different thing. Like do whatever your body needs to do to expel the energy out. And then go back to your breath. Breathe out. Feel the release of the energy. And do it until you feel like you release as much as you can in that moment. And you might need to do another session the next day or the next week. But I can guarantee you that some of the energy, if not all of it, will pass. And again, we're going back to the intention. My intention was to get the energy out of my body. And from that space, giving yourself a lot of compassion in this process, not thinking about what to do next, just allowing yourself to sit with your own emotions and your own sadness and hurt. Probably once you start to feel that anger, because it does mask the other emotions. It's not a root emotion. Anger is actually a surface emotion that hides other root emotions. So anger being a surface emotion hides oftentimes hurt and sadness, disappointment, things like that feel very vulnerable, that we try to cover up by staying angry. So once you take the angry mask off, you've got those vulnerable feelings left. Maybe once you've felt a lot of that, you just kind of can sit in that heaviness of like, yeah, the hurt. And that is also when you could refer back to the feeling of feelings practice, which only takes a few minutes to feel some of those other hard emotions. Sometimes you'll want to do that. Sometimes you won't want to do that because it'll be enough for that moment to sit with the release that you've already done. That's often the case for me. And sometimes within getting that anger out, you start to release some of those other feelings as well. And you'll notice as you even say these words, like I notice if I say like, I hate you, and at first it feels really strong because I really feel like I hate them. And obviously it's not true. Like these things aren't true that you say, but you got to say them in order to get the energy out of your body, right? So it's more about you giving yourself what you need. And then as you go through the process, you take a pause, you breathe, you come back, you say, I hate you. It's going to feel like, for me, I notice, oh, that doesn't actually feel true anymore. Or that feels less true. And then next time, I don't feel that anymore. Any hatred is gone, anger gone. And maybe there's sadness left, or just like a heaviness or an exhaustion. You can sit with that. It doesn't feel so active anymore. You've moved the energy through you. So these are the practices in getting your anger out. Start with something that makes sense for you, that you feel like resonates for you. You can try out some of these other examples I gave or think of your own thing. Um, but again, follow your intuition with what feels right. And this is a practice of giving yourself so much love and compassion in this journey of being a human, because chances are we're never going to reach a state of pure enlightenment in this life where we don't ever dip into these hard feelings like anger. So having the right tools to get us out of it quicker is the thing that's going to allow us to stay in a state of peace most often. So I'm sending you so much love and so much light.